Hey there everyone, welcome back to Utility Sports winners and losers for day 2 of the 2025 NBA draft. This year was so much fun. First of all, a huge thank you to everyone watching. If you are brand new to Utility Sports, maybe this is your first video ever, be sure to subscribe. I cover the draft all year long. I've got a bunch of 2026 NBA draft content already in the works. Of course, I've been spending so much time evaluating those prospects as well, especially down the stretch of the 2025 cycle. So if you're looking for more draft content year round or going into the next cycle, this is the best place to be. And let's break down our winners and losers for day 2 of the draft, for round 2. If you're also a regular viewer, you guys know the drill. Hit that like button as well. And just please listen carefully here. This is a little disclaimer I like to give on my winners and losers videos. This is first of all not meant to hurt anybody's feelings. If I say someone's a loser, it doesn't mean that I think they're not succeeding in life. We're talking about a whole bunch of players who have worked really hard in their lives to accomplish the goal of being drafted, hearing their name called on draft night, and making it to the NBA. 59 players this year accomplished that, which is an absolute W to begin with. Secondly, when we're talking about losers, we're looking at teams who maybe didn't do super well or positional archetypes that didn't succeed. For winners, you're looking at teams that did really well, player archetypes that were very valued in this year's draft as possible winners. And if I don't mention your favorite team in this video, of course, I can't mention all 30 teams. I will have a video giving grades for all 30 teams tomorrow morning, so stay tuned for that. Make sure to leave a comment. Just let me know in the comment section below who you want to hear about. I read every comment and I will be answering those. So let's get into winner number 1, the Charlotte Hornets. On day 1 of the draft, they of course walked out with Kon Knueppel and Liam McNeely, and at picks 33 and 34 in the second round here, they were able to effectively select Sion James, pair him back up with Kon Knueppel, the two of them going from Duke to the Charlotte Hornets, staying in North Carolina. Obviously a huge W for both of them. And then Ryan Kalkbrenner, after trading away Mark Williams to the Phoenix Suns yesterday, something I didn't love for Charlotte, but I understood given the injury stuff and the fact that he was maybe a little disgruntled anyway, given the fact they had agreed to trade him previously to the Los Angeles Lakers. I think here now, the Hornets ready for a fresh start at that center spot. They get Ryan Kalkbrenner, someone who dominates at the rim, a tremendous big man who can step out behind the three-point line a little bit. But the biggest sell for you if you're a Hornets fan, especially around LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, and Kon Knueppel, is having a big screen set, roll, catch around the rim, play out of the dunker spot, get on the offensive glass a bit. Increasing your rim volume is an essential aspect for the Hornets to help win the analytics battle night in, night out. One of my biggest concerns over the last few years for Charlotte has been the rim volume and not getting enough deep paint two-point attempts. This is an area where Ryan Kalkbrenner not only helps them, he was arguably the best in the draft at getting tight proximity, close to the rim, front of the rim, back of the rim, lob threat, rim gravity type of players. And to get him in the second round when I had a firm first-round grade on him, at number 26 on my board. Sion James I had ranked in the top 35 on my board. I think this is a tremendous pairing for the Hornets in the second round. And overall, to walk out with Kon Knueppel, Liam McNeely, Sion James, and Ryan Kalkbrenner, I think they did a tremendous job in this year's draft. Moving on to our winner number 2. I highlighted them after night 1 as well. I think they doubled down on it and were super active in order to accomplish this today. Last night they drafted Khaman Maluach, traded for Mark Williams, who we had just talked about a second ago with Charlotte. But then tonight, super active. They came into tonight with picks 52 and 59. They were looking to get stuff done. They moved up multiple times. They were able to get multiple assets. They traded out future second round picks to do so. Moved all the way up to pick number 31 with Minnesota, and were able to draft Rasheer Fleming out of St. Joseph's, someone who they had labeled as a top 20 player on their board. That's the reporting on this from Gambo. And then also for myself, I had him at number 18. And then at 41, they drafted, in my opinion, the best shooter in the draft, someone who, from an analytics standpoint, is utterly dominant. The highest three-point attempt rate among all college prospects in this year's draft class, and the highest three-point percentage, especially look throughout his career. In Kentucky, he made well over 40% of his threes, but the year prior, you go back to a 2-year, 3-year sample size window, his final year with the Dayton Flyers made 48% of his threes. This is a capital S shooter. The Suns not only walked out with 2 awesome big men on night 1, but they got a huge, big, bruising, mauling forward in Rasheer Fleming. Something that they badly needed on their roster was more length and size outside of just the center position. They get that with a good athlete who can fill some gaps for them in Fleming. And then another elite shooter on a cheap second-round rookie contract. The Suns, I thought, nailed it on the margins this year. Now, did they turn themselves into a contender with these moves? Probably not. So, maybe level your expectations a little. But I think long-term, you have to feel way better about the Phoenix Suns' future. Admittedly, I've been harder on the Phoenix Suns than anybody historically, especially you look at the recent history with Beal, the trade for Durant. I didn't like any of the moves Phoenix was making. Didn't like all of their minimums. Last year, I kind of liked the Ryan Dunn pick, was okay with the Oso Ighodaro pick. This is a huge win. This is an A-plus draft for the Phoenix Suns. If you're a Suns fan, you have to be over the moon excited, over the sun excited. This is such a great pick, such a great draft for them. And you just have to be so excited for the future of Phoenix Suns basketball. Loser number 1, and unfortunately it is small guards. This continues to be a problem year after year after year. And, it's not that any of these individual players are losers. Javon Small, of course, went to the Memphis Grizzlies at pick 48. Cam Jones was, of course, selected as well by the Pacers at 38. But I think all 3 of these players specifically, we expected this with Mark Sears as well, are just an example and exemplars of how smaller guards just are not valued in the NBA on NBA draft night, and then they typically return better value than their draft slot would indicate. It happened with Jalen Brunson. It happened with Andrew Nembhard. Ryan Nembhard's another great example we could throw on here. There are a variety of examples throughout recent NBA history where, yes, the 6'1", 6'2" point guard archetype, and sometimes smaller, is not the most attractive draft pick, is not the one that teams are lining up to go get, but they end up carving out NBA careers. So on draft night here again, small guards are a loser for me. Now, it doesn't mean that these guys aren't good. I liked all 3 of these guys at different levels of the draft. Pretty big fan of Cam Jones, a huge fan of Mark Sears, and a solid fan of Javon Small. I think all 3 of these guys have talent. I think all 3 of these guys can play in the league. I like them as players, but again, this is where you have to hear me carefully, okay? I'm not, this is not any distaste toward them. It's kind of an admission on how the draft process is a bit flawed, and we don't value good basketball players as much as we should. All 3 of these guys, and Ryan Nembhard additionally, are good basketball players and should be NBA players for a long time. Will they be? That's another question, and it's because the league doesn't afford a ton of opportunities, doesn't give a long leash, and it definitely doesn't prioritize or overly value this kind of player archetype in the slightest. Before we get on to that final winner in today's video, please go over to the Utility Sports Twitter and give us a follow. We are pushing over there, now over 5,000 followers over on Twitter, but we are trying to still expand. All of my thoughts on these draft picks, all of my thoughts on the trades, all of that is over there, so it's a great place for you to go. You can also look at my final big board. There's a ton of stuff here on the Twitter. Here's an example. My pin tweet is my official 2025 NBA Draft Big Board. Go over there. Link is in the description. It's going to be a great place for you to keep up with all of my thoughts, my evaluations of players, and I do respond to a lot of comments over there as well. So if you have extra questions for me throughout the course of the season, off season, all of that, I'm over there. I'm active on Twitter. Go shoot me messages. Go comment at me, and I will probably see them at some point and respond. So thanks again, guys. Let's get back over to the video. Moving on now to our winner number 3. And if you've been watching the channel for a while, there is no shock here to see the Los Angeles Lakers, who had the biggest steal of the draft, in my opinion, Adu Thero, as my winner number 3. The Lakers, I thought, nailed it. And this is where aggression, this is where trading up, using cash considerations. I've never heard of him. He got traded like 5 times tonight. Didn't have a scouting report on cash considerations, but it's a real needle mover. The Lakers took advantage of that, moved up not once but twice to get up to number 36 in a trade with the Minnesota Timberwolves. First moved up from 55 to 45, then moved from 45 to 36, and we're able to get a guy who I had 11th on my big board. This is an absolute home run, a total steal in this year's draft. Adou Thiero, what does he bring to the Lakers? For those who are maybe not huge into the draft and it's your first time hearing about him, this is a player who can cover a lot of space defensively. He can be an excellent gap and nail helper. He's not just a point of attack defender. I think the value here with him, you can use him as a corner helper. You can use him playing off the slot, and he can fill a lot of space and then still effectively close out and challenge out on the perimeter while still being a force in driving lanes off the basketball. And then, of course, he has the physical gifts to still pester ball handlers. I think that's an area where within the first few years of his career with some technical help, he can become an elite point of attack defender over time because of his fluidity, because of his strength. I think he can blow up some screens. I think he should be watching a lot of Aaron Nesmith on the defensive end of the floor. I think that's a great player for him to mirror his game after on the basketball, and then off the ball, he should be studying a lot of OG Anunoby. That continues to be my player comparison here for Adou Thiero. I just think a super talented, super physically gifted guy who is going to give JJ Redick a real Swiss Army knife defensively with his impact, can be a real presence at the rim as well as a shot blocker. His steal and block rates were incredible this past year at Arkansas, and even if you go through his first 2 years in college basketball for Kentucky, both of them were very high as well when it comes to his impact on the defensive end of the floor. I'm super excited about him as a young player. I think the Lakers got one of their best defenders on their roster tonight in the second round, and they did so by moving up using cash considerations. It's just masterful work. Thought Rob Pelinka had a great draft here, getting up and finding Adou Thiero, targeting him, circling him, and saying, this is our guy, this is who we want, let's find a way to go get him. And they did so at pick 36 in tonight's draft. I just love it for them. Offensively, you might be saying, okay, well, you talked about the defense. Is this a no offense kind of player? I wouldn't say that. Super high free throw rate. In fact, is over 69% free throw rate. So for every 10 field goal attempts this guy has, he shoots 7 free throws. He's going to get to the line. That's another testament to his athleticism. I think he's the most functionally athlete in this draft because of his ability to draw fouls, sky for rebounds, cut as a backdoor player, shot over 60% on twos this past year. Now, the shot making is a real question mark here. Shot only 25% on threes. Don't really trust the mechanics at this point in time. Shot sub 70% from the free throw line. This is still a work in progress in the half court as a catch and shoot player. But if you look on that Lakers roster, someone like Dorian Finney-Smith came into the league with some real questions, and that's one of the reasons he fell on his own draft and ultimately wasn't valued by teams. I think Thiero here is going to take advantage of this. He's going to have this as fuel to motivate him going in the second round. I had a firm, again, high grade on him as the number 11 player in this draft, and I think he's going to return significant value for the Lakers here. If you're a Lakers fan, you should be so excited about what he's going to provide for you around Luka Doncic long term. Thank you all so much for watching. Really hope you guys did enjoy. I feel like we are all winners as well with a fun draft. A lot of crazy stuff going on. If you guys did enjoy, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the very next Utility Sports video.